precisely, Alosha never came back at all. The one who came back was the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, but why though? This was a cool story, man. But why? The point is that we ended up in why. Huh?
Not bad. Well, since you've backed me into a corner, I suppose there's no point in keeping up the act anymore. Alosha?
You're the Grim Reaper?
I am no such tired cliché. Mortals should address me as the ruler of death.
Not immortals. So.
Before being wiped out for good, you identified the two deceased, and even sensed my presence. A commendable achievement. Far beyond what I expected.
I heard you can ferry souls. Those deaths each night. Were they your doing?
Your initial conclusion was correct. Due to the existence of the two deceased, the ley lines yearned to reclaim those long-lost souls.
See, it's a prison, bro. I'm telling you. Those ley lines are prison. Why would you? Yeah. It's a prison. That shit is a prison. I don't believe that's a cool thing. Yearning for to reclaim those long-lost souls. Yeah.
Every night, they devoured an equal number of souls to fill the void. This required no intervention from me. Though, of course, ferrying souls is indeed my authority.
And I can't tell you the reason why. Well, ley lines is a prison because when the principals are prisoning them, so they can lock themselves out of their actual fate. Because we know in 6.4, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that it was 6.4, in the Tempest Thyself, no, what was it? No, the Tempest, not the Tempest Thyself. Homeward, he who caught the wind event. Said this multiple times already. Alice said in the end is like the abyss is the fate that you haven't chose. When you haven't choose something, that's going into the abyss. That becomes the abyss. Basically, abyss is feeding off with the choices that you haven't made. And then when we read all these things about the eternity that they talked about multiple times, Obeyed of the Morning Star and Moon, the Otinine Temple of Space, Sonnet and Not Cry Act 3, Nicole in the in the teaser. What was the teaser's name? I forgot. Nicole in the teaser of Not Cry. And then of course Columbina resurrecting people as well. It's kind of, I don't know if that's in there, but like we know right now that eternity should have existed. People shouldn't have died. They should have died and come back. That's what Sonnet said. Sonnet's like, I grant you death and rebirth. Basically, you're reborn. You're not dying forever. You're reborning at some point. And now they're not. And that what that does is that they're going to ley lines, stealing their eternity, basically, because they should have lived eternally. And now you're just stealing their eternity. And when that happens, they are not choosing anything, and all those choices they should have made going to fed onto the abyss. They're getting fed by the abyss. Abyss is getting feeded. Abyss is growing stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, we don't know that exactly, if the abyss is getting stronger though. I think Alice said that too, that this is growing stronger with all the choices that you haven't made. So the abyss is growing stronger, all the choices you haven't made. And why would the Heavenly Princess need an abyss to be stronger? Because I believe that Heavenly Princess, he's abyss. They're abyss. Heavenly Princess is abyss. That's why everyone who's trying to attack Heavenly Principles is trying to use abyss. You know, Conrians use the abyss. In the back, right now, they're not using light round power or elemental energy. They need something else. They're using stellar linchpin coming from the outside of the world, potentially abyss. They're just trying to use some abyssal power. They said that, I mean, they said that they're using stellar linchpin, so that's not a confirmation. But they specifically said that they're not looking for light realm or elemental energy. And the one thing that confirms this for me is that the end of at the end of Act 7, it was actually around the end. Albedo and Durin was talking about the energy fields and how they open them up so they can save the traveler. And Albedo said that, like, okay, this energy field is a pure light realm energy, and the only way that we can destroy this is that we use elemental energy, because elemental energy comes from light realm. So when that power derives from that, the primordial power, you can destroy that thing. And then they do that. Albedo uses Geo, Durin uses Pyro, and then there's like a crack opening in the energy field. And then Albedo says, hey Durin, use your Abyss. Durin uses Abyss, nothing happens, and Albedo says, Light and Abyss are conflicted against each other. They basically have a protection against each other. Not says that he has a protection, but he's, I don't remember the exact word, but he's saying that, okay, he's not getting destroyed because they're conflicted against each other, so they're much more ready to each other. I don't remember the exact word. He's trying to say that, like, they're immune. Something around that line is like, he's basically saying that, okay, they're conflicted each other, but basically they have an immunity to each other. And then we know that they have immunity to each other because when Columbina finds Rerir in the moon's reflection, Rerir says that, Columbina asks, there's an abyss around here, what's this abyss for? And Rerir says that some of them was from just now, and some of them when I just jumped back in 500 years ago, when I tried to destroy everything. So when he jumped down, he tried to destroy everything. He died, shattered into 1,000 pieces and fall into Notcry, but nothing happened to the Abyss. Abyss stayed there, in the Light Realm, and Light and Abyss coexist. Nothing happened to either of them. So it just comes like, you cannot basically what they're trying to say in that lines is that Light cannot destroy Abyss, Abyss cannot destroy Light. You need to destroy light to destroy light, and that's what they do. They use elemental energy that comes from the light realm, destroy the pure light power, primordial light power. And if the same thing goes to the same line, and then you cannot destroy light with Abyss, Abyss cannot destroy light, and then you're like, so if we need to destroy Abyss, we need Abyss. Guess they haven't confirmed it, but maybe, because I'm just trying to make it 2 + 2. And I just want to say that equals 4. Hopefully not 5. And in that line of logic, probably Abyss is going to destroy Abyss, something that has been derived from Abyss. And then you think about having the principles is so against the Abyss. And everybody is trying to use Abyss to destroy Heavenly Principles. Even Nibelung, when you think about it. Like, Nibelung is a pure light realm creature, and he would have known that, yeah, I cannot use Abyss. Abyss is not compatible with me, right? Light and Abyss cannot go together. I cannot use this. You should have known. He's either dumbass, which I don't believe he is, or he knew that he needed this power to destroy Heavenly Principles, because you can't destroy Abyss with Abyss. So he was like, I need Abyss. There's no other way. He went in, got the Abyss, come back to destroy Heavenly Principles. But after that, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, Celestial Nails, who allegedly, we don't know that exactly, that destroys Abyss. And then you think, okay, so Heavenly Principles can destroy Abyss. Light Realm power cannot do that. And then we know a lot right now that Heavenly Principles cannot do anything with Light Realm power. Not create it, cannot have it, cannot give it, because he doesn't, they don't have it, but and that kind of goes on to the same lines. And I thought about that whole fate thing being focused on Heavenly Principles, because Heavenly Principles is fixing the fate, and you were like, why are they fixing the fate? And then you're like, oh, and then Alice drops the lore, is like, hey, everything we haven't choose goes to the Abyss. And then I'm like, okay, our fate is fixed. There's a lot that we're not choosing, and we're not eternally living anymore. That means Heavenly Principles literally feeding us to the Abyss. Why? Maybe it's because that heavenly principles are abyss. And why has heavenly principles doing all these things with the... Why are they in Tevat? Because Tevat is special. I believe Tevat is the door to the light realm. Because in the finale of the Deep Galleries, Voyager's consciousness goes around the sea of stars, saw countless of civilizations, countless of planets, and somehow this little planet woke her up, which is Tevat. There's countless amount of planets. None of them does anything to her, but Tevat wakes her up. And Tevat is a small planet and shines so bright. It was so magnificent. You were like, okay, the way she talks is that like this world has to be special. And then you think, well, how is this special? And you're like, it shines a lot. Maybe it's because light realm, you know. And then you think there's Nibelung, who born alongside it. Nibelung and Tevat born together, and Nibelung is the primordial, like a light realm creature. Straight up comes from the light realm. Even the elemental energy that he brought out, the phlogiston he brought out, comes from the light realm. But he's like a straight up primordial light realm creature. Who is like a chosen in light realm. Not like a chosen, but it's like, I mean, we don't know. Maybe he's like a specifically chosen, is like so strong. But he's chosen to protect this world at least. And Tevat, we know that Tevat is special. There's a reason why Heavenly Principles is here and not somewhere else. And I believe because Tevat is the door to the light realm, and Heavenly Principles wants to destroy it and wants to go in and capture destroy the light realm, destroy the earth for good. And that's why this world has a false sky, not because to protect from the others, not to protect this world from the others. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe Heavenly Principles are like, well, there's other abyss creatures that I have to protect myself about. I have to close this world. But maybe Heavenly Principles closed this world to cut off the light realm from the sea of stars. So now there's a full sky in here. That and the light realm hasn't been seen. That light has shined bright to the sea of stars is not around anymore. Abyss is just going around capturing easily. So, and then the last thing I would just want to say again about the finale of the Deep Galleries and how Voyager reacted to Heavenly Principles. Voyager comes into this world, talks with Nibelung, and says that Nibelung, enemy is coming, your world is going to be destroyed. He probably talks about the Dark Destroyer that we have learned in 6.7 in the Project Moongazer book. Because she's a scribe, she knows everything. Like I'll hate him, right? You know I'll hate him. I'll hate him as a scribe. Voyager is a scribe. She knows probably nearly everything about Sea of Stars, and she easily knows about the Dark Destroyer too. And then she sees that this world is special and magnificent, and she saw Nibelung and was like, hi Nibelung, you're so cool, come with me, let's leave, because this world is gonna be destroyed. And Nibelung is like, nope, I'm gonna protect this world. And then she's like, okay, goodbye, I hope I can see you again later. She leaves, then comes back, and when she comes back, she saw this world's changed, and she doesn't even think twice. Her consciousness goes in, picks a dude, and that dude, which is still Voyager, goes to the First Angel. Somehow, that Voyager knew that the First Angel's crown was dominating her, and somehow Voyager knew how to break that crown, and Voyager broke the crown. First Angel is free, and Voyager is like, hey First Angel, hello, whatever the name is. We just think it's Koitar, that's what the Hyperborean said. Koitar and Saitoroinen. And Voyager is like, hello Koitar, let's kill Heavenly Principles. And the First Angel is like, okay, that makes sense. And by the way, and not only that, Voyager knew the truth about this world. Whatever that truth is about this world, Voyager knew. And at the same time, the first angel know about the secrets of the creation, which now that actually in the moon, that we know that the moons had a creation power, maybe Heavenly Principles just stole that power to create some other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised that. But Voyager knew about the truth of this world, and Voyager was like, I don't even think twice. I'm a scribe. And there's only one rule of Voyagers, by the way. The only rule is that no interaction with civilizations whatsoever. No interaction, get the data and leave. She doesn't even think twice. She goes in just to destroy Heavenly Principles. Why? Why is she that mad? Because she probably knew who Heavenly Principles are. It was like, okay, this is bad, whoever that is. So everything, when you collect all these data and go in and like the game gives you enough info that probably Heavenly Principles is an enemy. And right now there's a lot of theory right now that Heavenly Principles is an AI. It actually fits my theory of Traveler being Nibelung, because I thought about Voyager. Voyager has a spaceship. She had a celestial disc that her body rested. Her body was in that celestial disc that she has, which is spaceship. And I was like, why is she not calling out her spaceship to that? And then when, we know that Nibelung opened this false sky, so the false sky is open, the spaceship can come in. What I believed is that the spaceship that belongs to the Traveler doesn't belong to the Traveler at the first place. That is the Voyager spaceship. Traveler is Nibelung. Traveler's sibling is Nibelung also. Just that Traveler is light realm Nibelung, because when Nibelung came back, he had light and abyss at the same time, because we know that he was a pitch black dragon, and also he had created the moon's reflection, which is a pure light realm, just to imprison moon sisters. So he had both light and abyss at the same time. What a power, by the way, controlling both light and abyss. You good chat. And probably Nibelung dies, we know that, and then probably he get two reincarnations, because of one is light realm, the other one is an abyss version, light and abyss version of it, and probably those two are humans because of the same reason why Nivelette is human, because Nivelette was a Hydro Dragon, died, or the first Hydro Dragon died, and Nivelette come back alive as a human. That's probably the same reason why Traveler and the Sibling is not dragon but human. And then when you think about the whole Traveler's lore, about the Twitter info that we know about, it's like your people has been your world has been destroyed, but this new world is waiting for you. Considering that the fact that the old Teyvat has been destroyed and the new Teyvat is here. The old Teyvat is not. This is not the Teyvat that actually born whenever it's born. It's a new world. And I think the main one said you should have had your own people and your own kingdom, but you lost them all, something like that. But when you think about it, all the animals, dragons, oceanids, and all the stuff that we had before humans, they all got slapped by Heavenly Principles. And basically, if you're Nibelung, that fits as well, because you lost them all. And I'm saying this all, at the end of the day, I'm saying this all because I want to stay into that, to be fair. But it fits, and I believe that spaceship comes in, Voyager uses her spaceship to put inside, help me. The Voyager puts inside the Traveler and the Sibling. That's what I believed before, and that's kind of what I believe right now. And the genetic world there's a genetic world inside, right? And there's a genetic world inside the spaceship as well. That's what the dress lore said. And that genetic world has to be Voyager in my mind. Because I was like, there's a genetic world, which genetic world is there to protect something, some kind of a body for a long time. Which when then you think about the Voyager lore, and the Voyager says that her body has been protected in her spaceship. Funny enough, the Traveler spaceship has something that has been protected in their spaceship as well. Coincidence? And then you think about, okay, we're going for thousands of years. Why are we not getting protected? Why are we not getting genetic vault? If this is our spaceship, we could have get genetic vault also. How we don't have it? And a couple of other things is that I want to say is that Nihilita and then the world that has been destroyed in the Dress lore. In the Dress lore, it says there's passing over the world, some world, and that world says that, oh look, this world has been destroyed the same day that the siblings were born. It's like, and then says surely no one would celebrate someone's birth over destroying a world. Which again, it fits the Nibelung's perspective, because when Nibelung died, the Moon Sisters died, this world thrown into chaos. And of course, there's a lot of other things with the Archons, with the Shades. You think about all of those are mimics, right? Shades are mimics of the... what was it? Moon Sisters. Archons are mimic to dragons. Visions are mimic to moon wheels. The false sky is mimic to the moon's cloak. Even the waypoints are. We were talking about waypoints being connected to ley lines. Now we have waypoints in the moon. They don't have a ley line, and they look different. Also, those waypoints look different. Probably Heavenly Principles took that idea from there also. How about that? And now Nicole is coming out and saying that the primordial humans created them. I don't know what that is. I mean, funny enough, Nihilita, no, not Nihilita, Malanta said that primordial human is the god of light created created a body to her own liking, and then the king of darkness stole it. And now Light and Abyss was going around in that body, and that was the primordial human. Both Light and Abyss had it in their body. Which kind of fits about the Nibelung situation, considering the fact that Nibelung had both Light and Abyss, and then if the Traveler and Sibling is this Nibelung, that fits them being the primordial human as well. I know there's a lot of connection that I made in there, but the last thing I want to say is that Nihilita, when he first saw us in the door of Temple of Space in the asylum, right? In the asylum in Dormant Port, Nihilita comes in and is like, hey, hello. And he specifically says, returnee from the Sea of Stars, welcome. And I mean, it's clear that English is not my first language. So clear at this point, I guess, right? And I looked at it, what returnee meant, because I was like, oh, it means that we went here before and we're now returning. And I looked at what returnee meant, and it said that returnee meant that you returning somewhere that you belong to, returning to the home, returning to your native place. And I was like, what else do they have to say at this point? And potentially, Paimon could be Voyager also. Because you think about this, 500 years ago, Asmodee captured Traveler and Sibling and put it in the apathic interval. We haven't went in the Temple of Space because no one in Temple of Space knows us. So I'm guessing that we put in the apathic interval because there was a dude that we saved in the apathic interval, and he was, I mean, Historia didn't know that dude. So I'm guessing same thing happened to me and my sibling. So Asmodee, Traveler, and the Traveler sibling inside of the apathic interval. And then think about Heavenly Principles and the spaceship, because Heavenly Principles took the spaceship from Nazcry for some reason and then put it on the moon. And then when we went to our spaceship, genetic vault was missing. So Asmodee, Traveler sibling, Heavenly Principles, and genetic vault. Okay, that's the 5 thing. 500 years pass. Traveler sibling is in the abyss doing some research. I'm playing Lumine, so for me, Aether is already Fury. doing research in the Abyss, being the Prince of the Abyss. Some of the principals are sleeping. Asmodee is missing. Traveler has just been let go for some reason, and now there's a thing called Paimon. That she doesn't even remember where did she come from or who she is. I don't know. I feel like they're just telling you that there's enough info in front of you that again, this is a theory. I can't be wrong. It's fine to be wrong. But when I think about all of these things that they said, I'm like, what else? I don't know. What else? I hope we can get the answer. I hope we can get the answer in Schnee. I'm just waiting. But with all that said, I have to go to the toilet. I have to pee so bad. I have to pee so bad.